All right, let's talk about something that is, well, it's super frustrating. It's a feeling I guarantee you've had. It's that sneaky, annoying gap between thinking you know something and actually, truly knowing it. So let's dive into this fascinating trick our brains play on us. You know the scene, right? You've spent a solid hour with a textbook or maybe an article online. You're highlighting, you're nodding along. Everything seems to just click into place. You feel totally on top of it, confident, prepared. You feel like you've completely absorbed the material. And then it happens. Your friend asks you to explain the main idea, or maybe you see a question about it on the test, and poof, nothing. Your mind just goes completely blank. It feels like the information just evaporated. That isn't just you having a bad memory. It's a very specific and very common cognitive trap. And this is it. This is what we're talking about today, the illusion of competence. It's basically the feeling of mastery without any of the substance. Your brain is mistaking the simple, easy act of recognizing information for the much, much harder work of actually understanding it. And this right here, this is the absolute heart of the problem. You've got recognition versus ownership. Recognition is passive. It's that warm, comfortable feeling of, oh yeah, I've seen this before. But ownership, that's totally active. That's the ability to take an idea, wrestle with it, and then explain it in your own words. One feels easy, like coasting downhill. The other requires real, honest-to-goodness mental effort. So, the big question is, why do we fall for this illusion so easily? Well, it all comes down to what you might call the confidence trap. Think about it. Every single time you reread your notes or rewatch a lecture, your brain gets a tiny little hit of dopamine. Why? Because it's easy. The information is familiar, so your brain doesn't have to work hard. It feels smooth and effortless. And your brain mistakes that little jolt of pleasure for actual progress. You know, psychologists have a great name for this. It's called processing fluency. It's this misleading feeling of ease. Imagine walking down a path you've walked 100 times. It's smooth, it's efficient. You don't even have to think about it. But are you discovering anything new? Nope. You're just walking the same old path, mistaking the ease of the journey for mastery of the landscape. And this is the great paradox, isn't it? We're all wired to avoid struggle because it feels like we're failing. But that feeling of confusion, that moment of wrestling with a concept that just won't click, that's not the enemy of learning. That is the very sound of learning happening inside your brain. Let's look at what's happening on a neurological level. Passive learning, like rereading, it's just reactivating old neural pathways. You're basically just creating an echo of information. But active recall, forcing yourself to pull that information out of your memory, that builds brand new, stronger connections. It feels riskier, for sure, because you might fail. But that risk, that's where all the growth is. Okay, so there's the brain chemistry side of it, but what about the psychology? Well, it turns out our brains are creatures of habit, and they really, really love their comfort zones. I mean, let's be honest, our ego loves to feel good, and the illusion of competence is so tempting because it whispers exactly what we want to hear. Hey, you got this. You're smart. No need to struggle. It protects us from that uncomfortable feeling of admitting we don't really know something yet. This is such a critical idea to grasp. That feeling of uncertainty, that moment where you have to stop and think, wait a minute, how does that actually work? That is the exact moment your brain is building new things. Confidence feels good, but it's uncertainty that builds the muscle. And look, this isn't just some abstract theory. There's hard data to back it all up. Let's look at a really fascinating study that just perfectly highlights this difference between feeling confident and actually being competent. So researchers at UCLA set up this simple but really powerful experiment. They took two groups of students. Group 1 used probably the most common study strategy on the planet. They just reread their notes over and over again. Group 2, though, used active recall. They were constantly testing themselves, quizzing themselves on the material. So before the final test, the researchers asked all the students a simple question. How confident do you feel? In the rereading group, the passive learners, they felt great. They reported a confidence level of 70%. They thought ready to go. And you can see it right here on the chart. The rereading group's confidence is way up there. But look at the active recall group, the ones who had been struggling and trying and failing and trying again. They actually felt less prepared. Their confidence was lower because they were painfully aware of what they didn't know yet. And here is the punchline. The result? The group that felt less confident, the active testers, absolutely crushed the test. They dramatically outperformed the confident rereaders. It just goes to show that their feeling of confidence was a terrible predictor of their actual competence. In fact, their struggle paid off big time. Okay, so we've diagnosed the problem. We know the trap is real, and it is sneaky. The good news is, breaking this illusion is actually pretty straightforward once you know the right techniques. So let's talk about how to learn for real. It really just boils down to this. You have to turn passive activities into active ones. So don't just read a chapter. When you're done, close the book and try to recall the main arguments on a blank piece of paper. Don't just watch a video. Pause it and write a quick summary of what you just learned. And here's the ultimate test. Don't just listen to an idea, try to teach it. Nothing, and I mean nothing, reveals the gaps in your knowledge faster than trying to explain it to somebody else. This is the huge mindset shift we have to make. Learning isn't about ego gratification. It's not about maintaining that comfortable feeling of being smart. It's about the messy, difficult, and ultimately incredibly rewarding process of actually becoming smarter. So this is it. This is the single most powerful question you can ask yourself to shatter that illusion of competence. It's the ultimate test. Can you generate the knowledge from inside your own head? Or are you just recognizing it when it's right there in front of you? And that's really the final takeaway here. If this explainer made you pause, if it made you question your own habits, then good. That's fantastic. It means your real learning has already begun. You've taken that first crucial step out of the comfort zone and into the world of real, durable knowledge. So embrace that struggle. It's where the magic happens.